Good afternoon. This is the Old Sage from Celestial Time, Rev Lorena, with class number 2 of astrology. This is basic astrology my way. Okay, my way is sometimes a little bit different than every other way. We're starting with the planets. After that, we will go to the sign, and today we're going to be doing the outer planets, the outer reaches of outer space. Now, these are the planets that don't go around so fast. The fastest one is Jupiter, which we're going to start with. It goes once a year, it changes signs, so it takes 12 years to go around. So these planets are what is in your chart a lot more than what's shaking, what's doing right now. The inner planets are the triggers, where the outer planets really tell you where your strengths lie, where your challenges lie too. The aspects to them, we'll get in the aspects later on. The aspects to them are far more important than the aspect to the inner planet. As a matter of fact, usually when you're looking at a chart, you take the inner planets and see how they aspect the outer ones. Okay? You start with Saturn. I didn't know that when I first started, and I was confused as I could be. I'm like, oh my gosh, Venus is squaring Mars, and what's that mean for the person? Well, no, what is Venus squaring or anything, the outer planets? So let's get ready for the outer planets here. Jupiter. I call Jupiter Uncle God. Okay, Jupiter is benefic. He's the greater benefic. He brings more of everything he touches. Okay, Jupiter is too much sometimes. Okay, sometimes too much of a good thing isn't a good thing, but most of the time it is. Wherever Jupiter is in your chart, that means whatever house and sign it's placed in, that means that's where you're going to find the most easiest path to take. Okay. Of course, what planets aspect Jupiter, that makes a big difference too, but just Jupiter by itself this is expansion. This is Uncle God. This is good. The Centurion is what is the constellation. The Centurion gives wisdom. Jupiter loves expanding the mind, expanding the consciousness, higher education, long distance travel, all those things that get you out and gone a lot farther than just plain old Mars, or Venus or something else. But in this constellation, the Centurion is pointing his arrow into the cosmos. He's shooting his arrow into the cosmos. He wants you to get the point, okay? And he's going to shoot it at you. The professors live here, okay? Jupiter, the gift for Jupiter is right here. This gift is, you see, it's supposedly Zeus, and it's, in a way, it's like the Z crossed, and take it or leave it. That's a way to remember it anyway. But it looks more like a 4 or a 24. To most everybody. Okay, the next one, well, we got expansion with Jupiter, contraction with Saturn. Saturn is father time, lord of the realm. If you don't do it right, you don't get the prize. Okay, Jupiter might bring you the lottery, but you have to then spend it right, or you blow through it in a minute. You have to understand. You have to blend Saturn and Jupiter in order to come up with balance. Balance is the key. Balance is the Buddha way. Balance, the path, the between path. Okay. But anyway, Saturn is called the greater malefic. It sounds terrible, doesn't it? Saturn, I love Saturn. Saturn builds, if you build over time and you build a foundation that's strong, then Saturn is going to reward you far better than Jupiter ever would. Okay. Saturn will say, oh, hard work? Yes. Now you get to keep the company, you get to travel, you get to do the things you want to do later in your life. Because Saturn is responsible for the 7, the power of 7 that goes through. The first 7 is the age of reason, when you're 7 years old. Then when you're 14, you just think you know everything. Then when you're 21, you're supposed to know everything. But when you're 28, maybe you do kind of get it, and you realize you don't know everything. That's kind of the way it goes. It's got 29.5-year transit, Saturn does. Oh yeah, Jupiter goes every year. I think I said that in the beginning. So every 12 months, it's in a different sign, and about every 12 months, it's going to aspect where it was in your chart. So once a year you get to reap the rewards of Jupiter, but Saturn is a 7-year cycle, and at your 7 years is your maturity. And if you think about it, about every 7 years things really do change, don't they? Okay. So this is your growth cycle. There's by the time you're 28, you're on the first rite of passage. 28, 29 years old. That's the rite of first passage. So that's the beginning of your life. Saturn has come all the way around your chart, and it has aspected everything that it can aspect in every way that it can. And I mean Saturn in the heavens is aspected in everything that is in the snapshot of your natal chart. I want to make that clear, 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 clear. Okay. These are called transiting aspects. Okay. So now at the second 30 to 60, that's where the meat and potatoes of your life is. That's where everything cooks. That's where you get stuff done. By the time you're 60, 61, you have your third Saturn return, it's called. And then it's when you're supposed to reap whatever you've sown. Okay, so it's kind of important to sow well, and it also, that doesn't mean if you work hard, you know, everything comes wonderfully to you, and if you don't do anything, you don't get anything. That's not what it is at all. But this is your life path as you've chosen it. Where you put Saturn is very important. And when you're looking at someone's natal chart, if you don't look at anything else as far as what's going on in their life, look at where Saturn is in transit to their natal planets. It'll tell you a lot in just 5 minutes. Okay. All right. Saturn's gift is this one. It's supposed to look like an upside down Jupiter. Okay. You can remember it however you want to remember it. The H for oh hell no. Okay. That's how I remember it. All right. Now the next one out is Uranus. And everybody's like, oh, ho, 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 Uranus. Well, yeah. Uranus does things with a bang. It's a buzz. Uranus is suddenly it happens to you, and oh my God, what happened? Where did it go? Uranus has a 9-year transit through a sign. It's got an 84-year lunar transit around the sun. So every 9 years, if it doesn't change in 7, it certainly is going to a 9. And that is another milestone. It is another rite of passage, because at 45, it's made halfway around. It's beginning to make its first opposition to your natal Uranus. And so what happens is you really and truly start doing your sun energy. A lot of times when we're first the 7 and 21, and we're living out of our moon or our ascendant. We'll get to the ascendant later. But we're living out of that energy, the energy of the moon and the emotions and the feelings and the reactions. But when we're 45, we have to start doing what we set out here to illumine, the sun. Remember, I said the sun illumines. Okay. So there's upheaval with Uranus. It doesn't mean it's bad. It means it's change. And sometimes it's an inner, it doesn't happen on the outside. You wake up one day and you're like, everything you felt was just fine, all of a sudden just doesn't fit anymore, and you want to make some changes. The least thing, when Uranus makes an aspect, you throw all the clothes out of your closet and start over. Or you leave home and go someplace else, or you just make that change that has been brewing, and sometimes you don't even know it. Okay? Now, Uranus, it looks like an H. Okay? The reason it looks like an H, and see, I even got the swishes across it, that's no accident. It is, but that's perfect for Uranus, because you never know what it's going to look like. But that's for Herschel, is the guy's last name that discovered Uranus. But just remember the H with the time bomb on the bottom of it. Ding, 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 ding. Okay? Now the next one out is Neptune. Neptune is ruled by Poseidon. Neptune is the god of the sea, the god of emotions, the god of feeling. Neptune, a couple of the moon, that's like the higher octave of the moon. It rules the tides. It rules the coming and going long term of your creative power. Neptune brings imagination, inspiration, and intuition. All three things there are God in action. Imagination, inspiration, and intuition. So Neptune is where you find your highest inspirations, where your imagination can be put to paper, can be put to music. Neptune is wonderful for the arts. Okay, now Neptune gets some bad press because it also is illusion. Okay, it doesn't really, you never really know with Neptune. In a way, it's kind of like Uranus, only with this one, it's just mushy. You never really know where Neptune it really is. What is, well, you know where it is, but what it's doing in your chart. There's always this undercurrent of not really being sure, of always the malleability of Neptune. Neptune in Pisces rules the sign Pisces, and Pisces is the sign of the two fish with their tails tied together, so they're going in different directions and nobody really knows where they're going. Neptune also in Pisces rules addiction, so that's just the higher octave of mind, Neptune, trying to find that nirvana, trying to find that higher frequency the hard way. Doing it through drugs and alcohol opens your consciousness to higher wisdom, but you pay the price. Okay, Saturn's got to be involved there somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Okay, Neptune, you can remember it because it's Poseidon's fork, the trident. Okay, so you can remember that gift. That's Neptune. Pluto, Lord of the Underworld. Pluto wasn't even discovered for quite some time, and then people are like, oh, Pluto's only a planet, it's not, or a sign, it's not a planet. And yes, it is. No, it doesn't matter. Remember when we first talked, I said we're in this bowl of soup, we're in this cosmic soup, and we're going around the sun, and all the planets and all the constellations and all the asteroids and all everything but perhaps maybe meteors are all constant. They're going around, they've created this energy over millennia, millions and millions of years. And the way they spin, the energy of where they're at, gives off what we can call aggression, assertiveness, Mars, love, Venus. The only way we know that is by observation. We've seen it for thousands of years, and it's been portrayed for thousands of years. We see the big picture with Pluto. Wherever Pluto is in your chart is where you want to come and learn how to help your fellow man, how to affect society. Okay, where Pluto is, that's where your deepest transformation is going to come from. It is empowerment, but is also, oh my gosh, it is so strong that sometimes it just totally tears things down. Pluto rules prisons, confinement, as well as Saturn does. It also rules death and rebirth. It rules the higher octave of the soul. It rules out in the cosmos, the God energy, the energy of creating and tearing down the ebb and flow of time and space. Pluto has got two gifts. One, the top one, and that's the one that the Europeans use. And the bottom one is PL for, it's the name of the guy that found it to begin with. So you can, but it's Pluto, PL. That seems like it's pretty easy. I usually use the PL because it's the easiest to understand, and you don't have to worry about mixing it up with Venus energy. The gift for Venus is similar without the moon laying down there. Okay, so Pluto rules Scorpio. Scorpio has got this inner strength or something. It's got a stinger too, and really Pluto, and if you understand Scorpio anyway, you know that they will take everything in, and they can be kind of broody, but when they strike, it's bang, the stinger will kill you. Yeah. And I don't mean that Scorpions are all like that, but how their moods go that way. They are ruled by Pluto. Okay. In the past, they were ruled by Mars. Their co-ruler is Mars. Well, yeah, but really, I think Pluto is much more pertinent to Scorpio, especially now as we're getting closer and closer to the transiting or the transition of consciousness that is here on Earth is coming in. So I'm going to give you keywords for the planets one more time. Please learn them. Please study them. There's a couple books out that I recommend. One of them is Choice Centered Astrology by Gail Fairfield. It's an old book, but I do love it because it's talks in practical English and gives you some good ways to put the planets together. And also there's a new book out called The Only Astrology Book You'll Ever Need, and I have heard that is very clear. I don't have one myself because I've been doing this for so long. I just don't buy any more books through it. Speaking of buying books, okay, find them on the internet, find them used bookstores. You know, you don't have to go out and spend $1 million on books. You only need a couple, and you need the good common sense of, well, how would this energy and that energy put together? And you can read you can read cookbooks about astrology all day long, and they'll give you all these wonderful, lengthy meanings. And I don't know, for me, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I don't get it. I have to digest it myself, and I urge you to digest these planets first. Because if you get the planets, then you'll have the signs to go with them, and then you'll have the houses, because the houses and the signs go together. So it's important to get the planets first, okay? If you have any comments, please text me at 832-444-8380 or email me at revlorena@gmail, or go to my website, celestialtime.com, and there's a place for comments, and there's also a place if you'd like to order your chart. I can print you off a chart and email it to you, easy if you're doing the class. If you would like me to do work for you, my prices are on the website. So give me a text, give me a call, give me a holler. Let me know what you'd like me to do. Now, next, we're going to go into the signs. And we're going to have some fun with the signs, because I used to do a show about the signs. So we're gonna pick on the signs a little bit, as well as learn about them. My first book that got me involved in astrology was Destiny Times 6 back in the 60s. And it was a fun book about the different signs and how they work. So until then, take care. Everybody on YouTube land, have a good day. Bye-bye.